Good afternoon once again. Welcome to our second day of our second week's discussion. Our topic for today is all about reflexive and intensive pronouns. So what is reflexive and intensive pronouns? In form, reflexive and intensive pronouns have the same form. So they use myself, yourself, himself, herself, or itself, ourselves, yourselves, and themselves. So they have the same forms. Now, let us understand what is reflexive pronouns and intensive pronouns. So what is reflexive pronouns? Reflexive pronouns are used when the subject and object are the same. So for example, I burnt myself on the stove this morning. So this is the correct example of a reflexive pronouns in which the subject I and the object myself are the same. So in the next sentence, I burnt me on the stove this morning is an incorrect example of reflexive pronouns because the object me is not an example form of or used by the reflexive pronouns and intensive pronouns. So next example, you can help yourselves to drinks. So this is the correct example of a reflexive pronoun in which the subject you and the object yourselves are the same. So in the next sentence, you can help you to drinks is an incorrect example of reflexive pronouns because the object you is not an example form used by the reflexive pronouns and intensive pronouns. So next is intensive pronouns. What is intensive pronouns? Intensive pronouns are used to emphasize the subject, meaning that person or thing and nobody, nothing else. So for example, did someone paint your house? No, I painted it myself. So the subject there is I. So the subject I was being emphasized by the object myself. So that is the correct example of intensive pronouns. Next example, he was planning to ask his assistant to go, but in the end, he went himself. So the subject he was being emphasized by the word himself. So that is an example of intensive pronouns. In addition, reflexive pronouns are not used after feel, meet, concentrate, and relax, and they are not usually used after wash, shave, and dress, unless it is necessary to make it clear who does the action. So for example, he cannot relax. So this is the correct example of a reflexive pronoun. And the next sentence, he cannot relax himself, is an incorrect example of a reflexive pronouns. Why? Because the word relax was being mentioned in which the reflexive pronouns are not used. So next example, after I got up, I washed. So this is the correct example of a reflexive pronouns. So in the next sentence, after I got up, I washed myself. So this is an incorrect example of reflexive pronouns because the word washed was being mentioned in which the reflexive pronouns are not used. So next, if it is clear that the meaning is reflexive, it is not necessary to use a reflexive pronoun. So for example, he gave the present to him. So this is an incorrect example of a reflexive pronoun. So in the next sentence, he gave the present to himself. So in this case, it is necessary for us to use a reflexive pronoun because we need it to clarify who it is for. So another example, I took my mother with me. So this is the correct example of a reflexive pronoun. So in this case, the sentence is clear that the meaning is reflexive. So we don't need to use a reflexive pronouns. So in the next sentence, I took my mother with myself. So this is incorrect because the only possible meaning is reflexive. So we don't use, or it is not necessary for us to use a reflexive pronoun. Now let's have an activity. So before that, read the direction first. Write C if the pronoun used in the sentence is correct, and I if it is incorrect. So you can answer this on your 1/2 sheet of paper, and after answering this activity, you can transfer it in the Key to 12 e-learning site. So you only have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer this activity. So start now. Okay, time is up. Let's proceed to the another activity. For the next activity, write I if the sentence is an intensive pronoun and R if it is reflexive pronoun. So you only have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer this activity. So you may start now. Okay, time is up. So again, you can transfer your answers in the Key to 12 e-learning site after this session. Now, for the last activity for today's discussion, I want you to use the following pronouns in an intensive pronoun form and reflexive pronoun form. So there are 5 pronouns there. So they are yourself, myself, themselves, herself, and himself. So you can answer this directly on the Key to 12 e-learning site. So thank you for listening and God bless you.